Dear colleagues, we would like to present you our topic, Problematic Issues of Digitalization of Education in Eastern Europe. We represent National Aviation University, Sumy State University, and Belarusian State Economic University. Digital transformation involves the transformation of all areas of public life under the influence of advanced innovative information and communication technologies, including in the educational system, which is the foundation of innovative economy and shapes its human potential. This determines the relevance of accelerating the digital transformation of education in the countries of Eastern Europe. The aim of our research is to analyze the process of digitalization of education in Eastern Europe. The scientific novelty of the research is the grouping of the countries of Eastern Europe according to the potential digitalization of education. The total quarantine and the abrupt conversion of educational institutions to distance learning in March 2020 revealed some of the problems with the digitalization of education in the countries of Eastern Europe. Since the beginning of the quarantine, higher education institutions in Ukraine were not fully prepared for online education. They used only certain elements of online education. Unlike Ukraine, in the Republic of Belarus, the digital transformation of process in the educational system, which includes updating the content of training specialists for various areas of the real sector of economy and the educational process of training teachers, is carried out in the two main areas: the digital transformation of the educational process to form a corresponding infrastructure, and the second, the digital transformation of processes accompanying education. And according to the above analysis has shown that the countries of Eastern Europe have similar problems in providing digitalization of education. And so the analysis of the ranks of the Network Readiness Index and the Global Digital Readiness Index in terms of technological readiness of universities and students for Eastern education was carried out. According to the Global Digital Readiness Index scores in 2019, the highest Global Digital Readiness Index in Czech Republic, the countries adapt to the digitalization of education. Next in terms of indicators are Poland and Slovakia. Belarus and Ukraine have a low tech adoption rate. The above analysis allowed us to group the countries of Eastern Europe according to their potential for the digitalization of education. And we have highlighted some specific criteria. Thus, proposed three groups of Eastern European countries according to their potential for digitalization of education with indicators. In our opinion, in order to activate the digitalization of education, it is necessary to expand public-private partnerships with the participation of manufacturers and suppliers of advanced information and communication technologies that have prospects of application in the educational process and higher education institutions of countries. To summarize the results of the study, SWOT analysis of the digitalization of education for the countries of Eastern Europe was carried out. SWOT analysis is a model for forming an information base and developing on its basis the most effective opinions for managing socio-economic processes, including the digitalization of education. It is assumed that SWOT analysis is used to assess the situational under country conditions of uncertainty and to regulate individual parameters. In this case, the regulation of parameters is understood as the correction of the values of control parameters for the implementation of the optional development scenario as a certain segment of the planning period. As an example, let us present the case of Sumy State University, Ukraine, on the creation of an e-learning platform based on its own unique developments. The e-learning environment is shown at the slide. The e-learning ecosystem includes various tools for the implementation of distance e-learning and blended learning platforms for creating educational materials, a platform for massive open online courses, repository of educational materials. After agreeing on the content, the materials are reviewed and posted in open or closed directly for course students within university access. Programmers implement only non-trivial tasks within the frameworks of educational courses, interactive elements, virtual and augmented reality, etc. And thus, Eastern European countries can be divided into three groups according to their potential for digitalization of education. In order to accelerate the digital transformation processes in the educational system, it is advisable to create experimental educational institutions with the most complete set of information and communication technology services possible in order to evaluate their effectiveness in detail and subsequently implement them in all educational institutions. The prospects of our further digitalization of the educational system of these countries is the creation of an Eastern European university with the artificial intelligence based on a partnership between the state and business. And the pandemic COVID-19 has led to the active digitalization of countries around the world, including the countries of Eastern Europe, that they can have partnership also with Asian countries. Thank you for your attention and have a nice discussion during this conference.